What's up?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Back-On.
Welcome back on.
Episode 6.
Episode 6.
We are rolling.
Yeah, we got a good episode today for you guys. You guys being Uncle Mike, Uncle Jay, and Huey.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Today's episode is more about life lessons that my dad has gleaned throughout this extravagant lifestyle that he's lived.
I wouldn't say extravagant. Crazy?
Yeah, maybe crazy.
Maybe crazy.
Definitely unorthodox for sure. Yeah. So I guess the first thing we have up here is important things that you had to go through to learn a lesson from. So I guess the question is like, explain an event that happened to you, Dad, or something that you might have seen, or just, anything that you experienced in general. And then after you were like, oh shit, okay, that was a mistake. Just don't let this happen again. And then this will come from it.
Wow.
I know it's a difficult question.
It is a very difficult question.
On the top of your head, yeah. Do you want to sit on it and go to another question?
Yeah. Let's
okay.
Let's kind of go lessons you learned from other people.
Okay.
Observing.
Yeah. Not something that you personally went through, but something that you saw, like a bystander kind of thing. And you're like, oh shit, I don't want that to happen to me. So
I think for me, man, going through life, being weak was one of the things I feared the most. And I see that a lot.
Is that because you saw someone that was weak?
I see it a lot.
You were like, I don't want that to happen to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Like being bullied.
Right.
Right. I mean, I think this just goes back a few episodes when I was a kid, moving to America, not understanding, getting bullied and having to fight. And then, growing up, being in that crazy lifestyle, you always had to prove yourself amongst your peers and the people that didn't know you, I think that you can't be strong all the time. Sometimes you have to learn how to be weak. Yeah.
And that shows real strength, but that's another...
Yeah,
I think that's something that you learn as you mature.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. I've seen, people get picked on.
Yeah.
Or, not voicing their opinion or not saying what they feel or want at that time. And, years later, it's just like, I should have. Right? And I think, like, in the beginning of this episode, I would tell you that as we go on, my memory will come back more, I guess, to certain specific times in my life that I've seen it. I'll give you a story. So we were at a party.
How old are you in this story? Set the scene, Dad.
Okay, so we're heading out. We're going to a party.
You're what, 18, 19?
I'm 19, probably 18,
yeah. Okay.
Something like that. And so we go, and we're at this party. So this party was at I don't know who threw it, but we just happened to go. It was at a little Catholic thing called Night of Columbus. It was in downtown Houston at the time.
You went to a Catholic party?
It wasn't a Catholic party. It was just a party. Somebody rented out a hall and threw a party. That's how it was back in the day.
Catholic? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It was like the Night of Columbus Hall type of deal, right?
Okay.
And if you're Catholic, it's just one of the things that,
right.
I don't know. It's like a party, or not a party, but it's like a club that you join. But anyways, we went, and that particular night, we didn't think anything was going to happen. Previous to that, we had a couple scuffles, but nothing came of it. So we go, and we're like, well, it was a friend of a friend. So they're like, man, just leave your shit outside. Leave all your guns and stuff outside. Because it's just a normal, ain't nobody going to be there type of deal. Well, we all go in there. Next thing I know, old boy comes in and says, hey, there's some dudes outside want to talk.
Who's old boy?
He's dead now, but he's basically the local crackhead type of deal. Like he knew everybody and everything, right? He was
he hosting the party?
No. He knows me, and he knows then they were my enemy.
Okay.
And so they walk in. Oh, he walks in and he's like, hey, man, they want to talk to you. I said, well, who the fuck want to talk to me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, shit. I look outside and it's them dudes that we had to scuffle with, going back before? Years. Yeah.
Oh, years.
Yeah. So okay. I was like, God dang, our shit's outside.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to my homeboy, and my homeboy's like, man, what the fuck are we going to do? We're stuck in there.
Yeah.
Can't leave. And I didn't want to look like a chicken.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, to say that I was scared would be an understatement. I was like, fuck, they're going to kill me the moment I open these doors and walk out.
Yeah.
But as a leader, I had to do what I had to do.
Did your heart, like your stomach
Hell
drop?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're nervous. I mean, you're looking death in the eye.
Yeah.
So I well, fuck it. I walked out there. And so their new leader was this kid. I didn't recognize him. I recognized the other guys. And so, I walk out and there's probably like 30 of them fools.
Holy shit. No exaggeration. 30 people?
Yeah, there was a bunch of them. They were all rocking, ready to load and go. I walk out there and I kept telling myself, you can't show fear. You can't show fear because if they shoot you, they shoot you. It doesn't.
Are you telling yourself this in Vietnamese or English?
Man, I don't know. Probably in Vietnamese. The steps were slow.
Yeah.
Because they're
just
like there.
Time slowed down for
Yeah,
you.
because I still remember that he's kind of smirking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, fuck it. So I walk out there and, the dude that told me, his name is Baldy, right? Which he's not bald. We just call him Seagal, right? Meaning Baldy, yeah.
Okay.
And so he's just like standing there. Of course, he's just an in-between guy. So, the kid walks up. I say kid, but, he's probably my age.
Yeah, you guys are both 19.
And he's just like, man, you know me? Type of deal. And I said, man, I don't know who the fuck you are. He said, well, y'all gonna die tonight. We're all here. And I said, well, shit. Basically you would have shot me. I said, what the fuck do you want? He said, well, the reason why I haven't shot you because my older brother said you a good dude. I said, who the fuck is your older brother? So his older brother is one of my old homeboys back in the day that did time for murder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, so what the fuck did it got to do with anything? What the fuck do you want?
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, it's a real brief. But he told me, he said, I didn't think you'd walk out here. I said, why wouldn't I? He said, man, I'm telling you, man, we got y'all surrounded and I'm going to kill you. And I said, dude, you need to do what the fuck you got to do. You want to play, you play. You don't. Don't tell me shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what saved my ass? Somebody called the cops.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm. It wasn't us because we were all inside.
So somebody
called the one of the patrons. Probably one of the party goers saw it. Ran, called the cops. And the girl was yelling at the boyfriend, cops are here, cops are here. And at that moment, I thought he was going to shoot me and run.
Yeah.
But,
wait, I'm confused. So this guy says that his older brother vouched for him.
No, for me. Not vouch, but just said that I was a good dude.
Yeah, so why?
But we were enemies. Like, we got his friends and he got us. You know what I mean?
So he was saying, I haven't shot you as soon as you walked out.
Because of my older brother.
But I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to kill you anyways. You know what I mean?
Holy shit.
And, I don't remember the verbiage. I do, some parts of it.
Was he also Vietnamese, Dad?
Yeah.
Were you speaking to each other in Viet?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we were just talking Vietnamese. And that's not the only time. But weirdly, what I learned from that, how to be a stronger leader.
Yeah.
Sacrifice, because I didn't know I was going to die. You know who was in that building with me?
Judo.
Chu Young. No, Do was never involved in that.
Chu Young was there?
Mm-hmm. I had just picked him up, maybe 6-7 months.
Did he come out with you, or
no?
You were out there by yourself.
I was just out there by myself. There's nobody out there. It was just me.
How far away from the building was the conversation?
We were inside the building.
So it's
like the foyer. Down. Okay, so the party room. You got to walk to it, right? Yeah. And so everybody was inside there. I was like in the little entrance area.
Yeah.
And I'm standing at the door with him. Like, he's behind the door. His crew is right there. And it's just me.
Is he in the foyer or?
Yeah, he's inside the room. He's inside it with me.
Fuck.
Yeah. They were all there, just staring at me, you know. And I think that when I didn't show any fear, it made them scared.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know what I had or didn't have. I never said I didn't have guns on me.
Yeah.
I just told them do what the fuck you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and luckily
Holy
the cops
shit,
came.
Dad.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I will tell you that I always remember that, how scared I was, but yet I was willing to take each step.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Holy shit, Dad. I can't imagine.
I mean, here's the thing, you know, and I remember when it was all said and done, I went in and got the guys and we left and we ran to the car, you know, and we were pissed because we got caught lacking, right?
I was going to say, you never showed up to anything without anything.
No, there was always protection.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's about to break out.
Yeah.
That's the thing about living that lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know,
something could happen at all times.
You say what you want to say. You know, there's a lot of opinions, and I'm sure there's crazier people out there, and these are just my little weird stories of back in Houston in the early 90s, late 80s, right?
Right.
And you know what I remember?
What, Dad?
There was so much, nobody wants to die. Because that's the ultimate ending.
Right.
You know, but everybody has a level of fear. And different things carry different levels of fear. You know, for me right now, it would probably be that I couldn't perform my duty as a father and as a husband. You know, then it was more, I couldn't perform my duty as a leader, you know, and so I owed it to my friends and my family, which is my friends, that, you know, I was willing to do whatever. But you know what's weird in that lifestyle? Nobody thanked me, which is a weird thing to think about now.
Yeah.
Nobody said, damn, man.
Thank you for being a good.
No, nobody. It was just, everybody just expected it. Does that make sense? So that's one of the toughest lessons in life is, you know, when people depend on you, they expect you to do everything.
Right.
The expectation.
What do you feel like you got out of it then, Dad?
That, I think right now, I mean, see, that's why I love these conversations, because now that I think back about it, because I've never really recounted that story a lot. I probably said it a couple of times in my life, but I think that when people depend on you, they want you to take the chances. You know, and that's one of those things about being a leader. I think sometimes that you have to embrace that, right? Regardless if it's good, bad, or indifferent. You know, and I think that's what carries me now, what I am today, leading men in business and type of deal, right? Because I'm willing to go out there and take a chance for them. Now, do I get mad? Now that I think about it, I'm like, fuck, I could have died.
Yeah.
For no reason.
That's what I'm saying, Dad.
Right? I mean, and the reason is that my brother was in there, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, my other brothers were in there in that sense. You know, my street brothers was in there, but my blood brother was in there. From the same mom and dad. And I remember looking at him before I walked out there and like, man, don't come out. You know, that's what I said to myself. I think I said, man, I love you. Which I've never really told my brother that, right?
He told you young that you loved him?
No, I'm saying just inside of me when I'm staring at him in that moment.
Was he the last person you looked at before you went out there?
Yeah, because he was standing right next to me.
Shit. What did Young say when that guy came in to tell you?
Nothing. They were all shocked because we knew we left our shit outside.
And they all knew what was going to happen if...
You knew what was going to happen because I would have done it to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If that situation presented itself for me and it was your crew I'm after, right? I mean, I don't know if it would played out like a movie like that, but I would have got you.
Yeah.
You know? I would have got you. So I expected to be. But to say that I wasn't scared or frightened is an understatement.
Right.
You know, like my heart jumped to my stomach.
Yeah.
There was no out. There was no...
You're facing... Yeah.
I mean, think about it, man. You're facing the ultimate end. Violent. Yeah. It wasn't like, and you 19, 18 years old.
Yeah.
You got a whole life ahead of you, right? Then I wasn't thinking that. Then I was just thinking, fuck, I didn't want to look like a bitch.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of the thing but what I gather from that, when people expect from you, right? The hardest lesson in life, I think that you have to expect from yourself more than what your people expect from you. You know? Now, you can take that any way. As a son, as an employee, as an employer, as a boyfriend, as a friend. I think that I have lasting relationships because I built that through the years. You know, you can say what you want to about me and like me or don't like me, but you can never say I walked away from trying to do the best for that situation.
Right.
Right. I think that I learned that internally without ever admitting it. Like you know, these things you got me thinking about how to talk about, because I've never really expressed those.
Right.
You know, because I remember, man, my friends never said shit. We went home,
and then
you know, we went actually we went hunting. We went hunting for them, you know.
Yeah.
And we were pissed because we were embarrassed.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait. Okay, you gotta finish the story, Dad. So
the
okay,
cops.
hold on. So walk me through. So the guy comes in, Baldy. Yeah. He says, "Hey, there's these dudes out here. They want to talk to you."
Yeah, I forget his name. Yeah, they want to talk to you.
Yeah. So you immediately know what's about to happen.
Yeah, because I would have done the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So you go out there and you face death. What you think is your last breaths, your last moments in life, and for some reason, the police show up before.
Well, there wasn't a reason. Yeah, I mean, was God involved? I have no idea. Somebody called.
Right, someone called the police.
I'm assuming the party went a little bit crazy because, you know.
Was there a lot of people in the party?
Yeah, there was a bunch of people.
So someone called
911.
There's no telephone.
Yeah, somebody called a public phone or a landline then.
Holy shit.
Yeah, there was no. There was nobody. I don't remember. Yeah, there was no cell phones.
Yeah. So someone called the cops.
We still had pagers then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you remember like running away as the police sirens were coming?
Well, we didn't have anything on us, so we didn't care. We were just leaving. You know what I mean? We're just leaving the party. We just got in our cars and left, and we went to go hunting down. You know, which we didn't.
Do you remember seeing them run away?
Yeah, they left.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
I'm standing there, and they took off because they were all carrying guns.
So you watched them leave?
Yeah. That's when I walked back.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I thought that he was going to shoot me when his wife said, or his girlfriend said that. Like, the cops are coming. The cops are here. Let's go. And
then you're like, oh, this is my last moment. Like, he's going to shoot me.
Because I just thought, because, you know, the knee-jerk reaction is a young dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's going to shoot me and be a hero and leave. Because you cap my head, you get a great reputation. That's the law of the land, right?
Yeah.
You know, you take out the dude with the reputation.
Damn, Dad, that's fucking crazy.
So I remember.
How the hell did you get into beef with him anyway?
They were a part of a gang, the LTX crew.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so they numbered probably 100, 150. And we were always at it. We see them, they hit us.
For what, though?
It's just, you know, for everything. It's bygone wars. I mean, I know exactly the moment it started because I caused it. Right? I made the decision to go at them. And it was just a back and forth. It was just like, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Let's say you're the crew and we get a phone call from like friends of friends say, hey, man, these fools are here. Bam. We'll run up on you with cars.
Wait, why, though?
Because they were our enemy. That's the only thing we knew. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You protect your reputation.
Did they do something to you or the people you were affiliated with that caused you?
Yeah, they shot at us.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it wasn't like
so they caused it.
No, what happened? I'll get into that in another down the road.
Okay.
What happened? But yeah, they it wasn't like a friendly. Only years later, when most of my friends did jail time with them, because you know there's not a lot of Asians in jail, that everybody became friends.
Yeah,
and they would call out and they would be like, "Yo, you know,
we got to get together."
Yeah, because it's mutual respect. They respected what we did, and we respected them. It wasn't like that. You know, we hated them, yes.
Yeah.
But the level of respect was there because they played the game right.
They didn't hit Kobe and MJ.
Yeah, nothing like that. But yeah, but
they hate each other, but you know.
But when you're in jail, there's nobody to protect you.
Right.
Your only race protects you.
Yeah.
That's
what I've heard. Yeah.
No, because it's true.
I've seen that on the movies.
Because it's true.
Yeah.
But not to let the story get away. But what I learned from that was, it's the same thing as what your wife, your girlfriend, whoever expects, because we're all leaders in our own way.
Right.
Right. And I think the biggest life lesson is that, for me, I don't know about anybody else, is, if you're in that position to lead, or you're in that position, you got to go all in. I believe. And nobody's going to think. It's a thankless job.
Being a leader.
Yeah.
So what do you get out of it then, Dad? Because if it's not...
Ooh, that's a good question.
It's not any perks, because you're not getting anything out of it monetary-wise.
Reputation.
And there's no pat.
There's no pat.
It's just...
The mantle to be in charge...
is enough rewards to reap from.
Yeah. As, as a kid,
mm-hmm.
I just felt that I needed to protect the people that I was with. More than the monetary gains, more than anything else.
Mm.
So
you felt intrinsic...
an obligation to do what I had to do.
Right. But fulfilling that obligation, Dad, what... I guess there's like an intrinsic...
I guess so. I guess because everybody... I mean, if there's a lesson there...
Yeah.
And I think... And I know there is... once you're involved in something and you happen to be in charge, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes, because your word or what you say is what people believe. And if you apply your action with it, they believe it more. That wasn't the only time something like that's happened.
I'm
right?
sure, Dad. Yeah.
So, as crazy and as insane as it sounds, the lesson is, man, it's just thankless, right?
Mm.
Because now I think about it, I mean, we wasn't like at home drinking beers like, man, dang dog, you saved my life. It wasn't that.
Has that ever happened to you before?
What?
Someone said that to you?
No.
Not even once?
No. I never expected it.
Oh, okay.
Because in that world, nobody thinks like that.
Yeah.
Because to thank somebody would be weak.
I was about to say, you'd probably be like, man, should I be being gay or something stupid like that?
Yes, I would have.
Like hyper masculine kind of thing.
Oh, you got to be, right?
Yeah.
But,
But see, look, now 30 years later, you're like, damn, no one said thank you, like once.
Yeah, it's weird. Now that I think about it,
yeah.
I think about it, like we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
It's 35 whatever years later, we don't talk about it. We don't bring it up. It's not something like, hey man, you remember that time, dog? You did that.
Yeah, like Too Young was here literally 3 days ago, and you guys were talking about running.
Yeah. It's a different world.
And now you're sitting here in front of me telling me that you looked him in the eye and said in your head, I love you, before you thought you were going to die.
Yeah. I
mean, that's crazy, Dad.
Yeah. I wasn't even brave enough to tell him that.
Yeah, but you were brave enough to go face death.
But the thing is, but in that world, those two things aren't the same.
Yeah. Facing death and being weak. Being weak is worse than dying.
Yes.
Yeah. It's worse than dying.
Yeah.
When was the first time you told someone you loved them that wasn't like a romantic interest? Like Mom. When was the first time you said that to somebody? And you can't say your kids or your wife, because that doesn't count. And if it is, then that's a crazy answer.
I don't know.
Is it Mom? I mean, of course it's Mom.
Yeah. Well, no, you're saying no wives and no kids.
Yeah, you can't. They don't count. Like, I tell my friends I love them all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't bring myself to.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there's been situations to where, like, I'll be on the phone with your uncle.
Yeah.
And
see, but now
it's different.
It's way different.
Then
you guys are fathers.
Then I will tell you, no, I've never said it.
Never.
Well, I think that maybe when I was drunk growing up and we're in the midst of just doing something and hanging out, And, one of my homeboys be, man, I love you, brother. And then I'd be like, yeah, I love you, bro. Let's go do this. That's different.
Yeah, that is.
That's not like, man, I love you. What you doing, dog?
Yeah.
It's not the same. I've never blurted those words like when I wasn't drunk or just out of the blue.
Dang.
That's never happened. I will tell you that. It doesn't even happen now. Unless somebody says it to me, like Too Young sometimes he'll end it, like, man, love you, bro.
See, but it's so different now because you guys are fathers, you're husbands, you're different people.
But Too Young is more emotional than me.
Way more emotional.
Yeah. And I'm not like that. And it's not a good thing.
That. Yeah. Sometimes you wish you weren't that way, right, Dad?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of grow up hardened with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't generally... I would say that generally I'm a great person, right? That's what people tell me. I'm pretty nice and funny and whatever. But to tell you that I'm that sensitive, I would be lying. I'm not.
I know you're not, Dad.
And it's not something that...
And for you, it's... the reason why it's so difficult, I feel like, to turn that leaf is because you had to live a certain way to survive.
Yeah.
And your body and your mind is like, well, if you turn this, you could die. So we can't do that. And you've suppressed so much of, years of whatever trauma and violence that you've gone through.
I think it's a lot of trauma. I think it's a lot of trauma. It's a lot of violence.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff that I've seen in my life.
And you don't want to, it's like opening up the floodgates, Like, I remember you always used to tell me I'm not that kind of person that needs to, what is it, address their demons or something? I forgot. You used to say it to me all the time. But, yeah, Dad, I think...
I don't kill my demons. I live with them.
Yeah.
That's what I just tell you all the time.
Yeah.
Because you would ask me, well, Dad, why don't you cry? Or why don't you do this and that?
Yeah.
I don't address those demons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of just how you're hardwired to live now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's different, though, right? I mean, in that is a sign of weakness, I think, not to be that open. Yeah,
because you can't address...
There's certain things that I'm incapable of.
Yeah.
And
that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you deal with. It's how you deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, does it come out in other ways? Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Dad. But to say that you aren't a loving father and husband is far from the truth. Because you told us you love us, you do all these things.
Yeah, because I want, for me, just to give you the life that I didn't have.
Right. And I think you do a great job for what you've been given, Dad.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely spoil you more than Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, as much as y'all irritate the shit out of me, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm the weak one when it comes to that.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
I'm willing to move mountains for y'all. But like that's every father though.
Right.
But
and, I don't know. I bring that up.
Or every parent, I guess.
I bring that up to say, I think you kind of discredit yourself when you're talking about how you're not sensitive at all. But I think in terms of being a loving father, there has to be some sensitive aspect to that, to show to your children vulnerability. Like when you come home tired and you're telling us that, fuck, I'm tired, I just did this, this, and this week was like this, this, and this. I think that's a sense of vulnerability, Dad.
That is.
And
but it's a step that I had to learn.
Definitely. Which is something else I also wanted to ask you. Learning in terms of, for a long time I used to think that, and used to talk about leadership all the time when I was a kid, right? Like, oh, Alexander the Great, he did this shit.
Yeah.
This person did this General Pat did this, right? I used to always think, oh man, I've never heard how these leaders learn to lead or become leaders. So I guess you're just born that way. And it took me a long time to realize that it's something that you learn. And you have to learn everything in life, right?
Experience is a motherfucker.
Yeah, right. And I remember being a kid and I was like, oh, my dad is a leader, so I guess I am by nature. Far from the truth. It's something that I am learning. I have to learn how to lead myself first. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah,
but I was going to ask you, Dad, Of course, you do believe that leaders are made, not born, right?
Yeah, you're made.
Right.
Yeah, you're made through the steel of life.
Right. You're not born into being a leader.
It's what you accept, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, there's bad leaders, there's good leaders, there's average, because we all lead in our own way again. I mean, it's not the sense of, but the one belief that I always have is that that's not something that you that's not a mantle that you give yourself. That's a privilege that your people give you.
Yeah, they give
through
you
their actions and through the things that they do for you.
Right.
Because we're all entitled to a certain amount. Like if you're a manager, if you're a shift leader, if you're a dad. I mean, there's fathers out there that the mom runs the household.
Right.
Right. There's families out there where the kid runs the household.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's it goes on and on and on. And so that's a mantle that people give you.
That is true.
To walk around and say, well, yeah, I'm a phenomenal leader.
That's crazy. That's like saying I'm humble.
Yeah. I mean, why do you need to say that? Because I just believe that that's a title given to you by the people that you're with.
Right.
Regardless if it's a group of friends.
And it's something that you earn too.
Yeah. As a family, friends, workplace, whatever that it is. It's something that's given. You have to be given the right to lead people. And in that, the responsibilities jumps leaps and bounds. That's why it's always funny to me when people say, well, I don't want to be promoted because I don't want to lead people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're given a title to be in charge, right? But some good leaders are phenomenal followers.
Yeah.
But through your influence, people listen to you. You know what I mean?
I guess I know.
That makes you a leader in a way, right? Because think about it. If you work for me, or if I work for you, right, or whatever, let's say I work for you, and you lean on me for advice, and you lean on me for help, and you lean on me for whatever that goes. Let's say we all have a crew of 3 or 4, whatever. And you're like, man, LT, what do you think? And I will tell you, like, okay, I think we can do this. Hey, can you go take care of this guy for me or whatever? It makes you a leader of that crew. It makes you the most influential person in that group. And without the title, you're unofficially, officially in charge of what happens. And I think that's a sign of a good leader, right? Because you're willing to take the title to be a follower, but in the end, you're absolutely in charge because of your influence, because of who you are.
Okay, that's funny that you say that, Dad. Because I've always felt insecure about working for someone else or being a follower, quote unquote, right? Just because of the way that you raised me. But it's refreshing to hear you say that good leaders can also be good followers.
Well, they should be.
Yeah.
That's one of the lessons that I learned through life.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because, I mean, in life, when you get older, you're going to lose a lot, right? And it's just like in the same job, in the same family, there's going to be questions arise and asked about certain things that you do is wrong and stuff like that.
Right.
And so, to be somebody that's in charge, or to be somebody that's given that mantle, you got to think more outside for people. Your decisions are based on what they would do.
Oh, and so from that you draw the empathy from being a follower.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, Dad.
Yeah, because I actually took that lesson years ago when I was getting ready to walk away. And it was actually at that time I just started dating Mom, and I felt like I have to leave, and
this is before Brandon?
Yeah. And so it was just getting too crazy. It was just insane. My life was just crazy. It was everywhere and everything. And I remember I told my homeboy, we were sitting in the closet, and I said, look, the guys believe in you, and, you need to be in charge. You need to take care of this crew, but he never said, hey, well, what, should we announce it? It wasn't anything like that. It was just kind of like they already followed him. You know what I mean?
Oh, and that's why
we were both, they followed both of us, but they followed him, and I didn't want to dissect the crew in half and be
Right.
like half this, half that. The best thing to do at that time for me was to step down
And let him
be whatever he
right.
wanted to
and
be.
at this time, you still wanted out of the life anyway, huh?
Well, yeah, partly. I mean, I was
Yeah.
still doing what I had to do inside it,
Right.
but
Do you
know,
think mom saved you from it?
yeah, took years, but yeah.
You think so? Because even when you were still with her, you were still in it. Did she ever did y'all ever have an argument about that, or she just had everything went right over her head because you hid it from her?
I don't think we had an argument about what the things the only thing we argued about was me hanging out with my homeboys all the time.
She had no idea that you guys were partaking in.
No.
Okay, it was just like, oh, you go out to a restaurant, you drink beer and smoke cigarettes, and you come home at 3 when you should be hanging out with your children.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know that it was like,
yeah.
Because what I'm asking you is like Goodfellas, you know, like the wife is like, we have a daughter, like I'm trying to get out of this life. I know you're out
no, it
here
wasn't
doing
like
all
it
this
wasn't
shit.
that like we weren't living like mafia or whatnot like that. I mean, it was, you know, I would say, was it a strong crew? Yeah, but it wasn't anything in that realm, right?
Mhm.
So I just don't want people to think, oh my God, no. Did we do crazy things? Yes.
Yeah, but it wasn't like 5 generations of an Italian family.
No,
Organized
it
crime
wasn't
kind of
like
thing.
when Brandon was born, you're gonna be, you know,
Yeah,
it wasn't
it's
that.
not
It's not
Godfather.
anything like that.
Okay,
Let's not have that misconception.
Yeah.
For the 3 listeners, it wasn't anything
Yeah.
like that. Was it crazy? Yes,
yes,
but it wasn't anything like that. I'm not. But we never argued. She never said, "Hey, look, you know, it's dangerous for you to be out there." You know, we never had that talk. She never told me, you know, this, that, as far as, you know, I think that this guy's going to ruin your life and you're going to die and stuff. You know, we never had that talk.
Megan.
All talks are always about, you know, how much influence that my friends have in my life. You know what I mean? So it's always been that. We've never had that talk.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
and fortunately, we never have to because I'm not, you know.
Yeah.
So
No, whatever happened to the guy that you passed it down to, Dad?
he did 10 years in jail. 12.
Holy shit.
Yeah, in Old Folsom in California.
Is he done?
Yeah, he's got kids.
Oh.
I mean, we still talk.
Do I know him or no?
Yeah, you met him when you were a kid.
Oh.
Actually, when I got married, he was still doing time.
That is insane.
Yeah, him, his brothers, yeah.
If you had to give one piece of advice to the world, do you want to do that, Dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't be so fucking judgmental of people.
Yeah, that's your one piece of
I
advice.
hate that.
Yeah.
What about you? I mean, you're a 21-year-old. What is it that you would give an advice to the people around you? Now, what you learned now, what you learned 10 years from now is 2 different things, right?
Definitely.
But right now, as a 21-year-old,
So far, not everything is about me. That's something I have to drill it into my head. You know.
what do you mean by that?
I don't know, Dad. I mean, I do know. I just tend to be very self-centered sometimes. I tend to think that, you know, it's affected me in a lot of ways of like doing things that I want to do, doing things I want to say. There are a lot of times when I don't want to go against the grain because I'd be like, oh man, this person cares about what I'm going to say, you know, or this is going to negatively impact my image or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And let's say these are lessons I'm still teaching myself this, you know.
Sure you are. You're
So
21.
I remember I came home.
Hell, I'm 50 and I'm teaching myself.
Yeah, I came home from doing my first double. I'd been at Ginia for 14 hours. I got there at 10 a.m. and I left at midnight. I think 1 actually.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. I get home, I'm so tired. Wake up the next day. Mom asks me, hey, can you go do this? And I don't say anything. I'm just like, okay, yeah, fine. And then in my head, I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck? Like, she asked me to go do this thing for her. I just got done working this many hours, da-da-da-da. And then I'm like all grumpy doing it. And then I was like, wait, why am I so mad? Like, no one cares that I work 13 hours.
No.
No one gives a shit.
I mean,
why are you making such a big, you know?
From a parent's perspective,
definitely
it's not like you're working for me.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. That you're not bringing home the paycheck to give to me.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, you know?
You're working all your money for your own benefit.
Yeah. And then I was like, Mom used to work 16 hours and 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row. And then she would come home and cook us dinner.
Yeah.
And act like nothing happened, you know? And then I was like, why am I bitching? Of course, I never let any of that onto Mom. I never did that.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, oh, da, 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 da. But, you know, you got to take a step back and just be like, dude, no one cares.
You know what's funny?
No one gives a fuck.
You know what's funny about that?
What's up, Dad?
Most people your age, when they have to work, they say that too.
What? Oh, yeah.
It's weird because it's so just tired, like, oh, yeah, like yesterday I worked all day. Why do I have to do this or do that? And I'm like, I'm not your dad, bro. That's your fucking job.
Yeah. No one cares. Though.
No, I don't get. Yeah, no one cares.
No one cares. Yeah.
But I think that those are the lessons. As long as you understand it or know that it's there, then you can fix it.
Right. And I'm very conscious of it all the time, Dad.
Yeah.
I'm very, very conscious of it a lot. Now, you know, it's bled into my life of like my relationship, you know, my work life, just standing up for myself too. That's something I had to teach myself about. No one cares. Like, you just, if you feel like you're being mistreated, no one cares.
No, they don't give a shit.
You have to say something.
Well, you know? the other thing is, if you feel like you're being mistreated and you keep letting it go on, they're going to think that's normal.
Yeah, exactly. Right? You got to do something. Yeah.
And if you say something, you're either an asshole or you get away. But whatever it is you do, you got to feel good about it.
Yeah, 100%. You know? Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it's just like, you know, well, I don't want to do this because it's not fair, you know, for me.
Yeah. Now that I've gotten older, I'm very okay with, you know, setting that sort of boundary. Like telling someone I didn't like what you just said to me. I'm very okay with that now.
Really?
And you'd be surprised that people are like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't, you know.
That's weird.
So if you're just, you know.
It's not weird in that sense. It's for me, I guess my growth wasn't in that. It's like if you said something negative to me, I was just like, what the fuck did you say?
Yeah, you said
it wasn't an explanation.
Yeah.
You know?
You never said,
I'm sorry, like, did you say that?
Yeah.
No, it was just like, what?
Yeah.
And then it's on, you know?
Yeah.
Or whatever that it is, because it's very extreme.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Dad. I almost yelled at someone at work.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think I told you this story yet. But it wasn't a coworker.
Yeah.
It was someone that was like door dashing or something.
Yeah.
And I wasn't hosting, but I was working the front. So I'm technically hosting as well. And this dude comes in, he's like, oh, I have a pickup for this guy. And I'm like, oh, okay. Then we go check the kitchen. It's not ready yet. So I go check the kitchen, and I'm like, it's going to be a few more minutes. And then I go seat these people. And then I guess 10 to 15 minutes went by, and the order still wasn't ready. And so I go back up to the front. He's still standing there, and I'm like doing something. And he's like, hey, did you check for the thing yet? And I was like, yes, sir. I just went back there. They're still making it. And then he like mumbled something under his breath, right? And I hate when people do that.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy. So I looked at him and I was like, say that again. And then he was like, as soon as I said that, my friend came by and gave him the order. And so he grabs the food and he was like, I've been waiting for fucking ever. And he was like 45, 50. The guy was old.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to chase this dude and yell at him. I'm just like, just go. This is not worth it. Right?
You're a bigger man than me.
So he goes and I'm like, at least I can say at the end of the day that I called him out for being a bitch. Yeah. Because he said something under his breath. Like,
yeah, to a kid.
To a child. Like, yeah, and I look 18. Yeah. You know? Like, how
don't sell yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
You look 21, bro.
No, I do.
Don't cut yourself short, bro.
I do look 18, Dad. My coworkers and my managers all thought I was until I told them I was 21.
I understand that. Yeah. People still think I'm 20.
Okay. That is a stretch, Dad. But, yeah, you know, I think 2 years ago, I probably would have let that dude go. But
it's good though, man.
At least for me, I had to be like, I'm not gonna let this guy say something under his breath.
Yeah.
You know.
They those are, you know, the thing about lessons is that as long as you understand them, right, they work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Consciously thinking about them too.
And so it's something that, you know, again, nobody's perfect. I mean, I think everybody has a certain amount of fear. You know, like I'm not gonna walk into a bar full of fucking 6-foot dudes and talk shit.
Yeah.
You know, and if they did something to me, I might fight, but I know that in my head I'll probably get my ass beat.
Yeah.
You know, but those are those lines. But I think that holding back sometimes is good.
Mm-hmm.
Being too opinionated, like that's the thing that not drives me nuts, but I find very amusing about social media. You know, because I grew up in the world of face value.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so there was no hiding behind a keyboard.
Right.
You know, there was just action and reaction. Right.
Human, genuine connection.
Yeah, and if you said something or you did something or whatever, there was
consequences.
There were consequences. Yeah,
they were real.
Now it's just like anonymous from 18,000 miles away typing a keyboard or. You know, the image of, you know, I'm a great person. Here are pictures of me on vacation. And, you know, you're living at home, you know, with a $5 job type of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's warped a lot of the world.
Absolutely.
I feel that, yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's right or wrong or if that's absolutely true. That's just how I feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like that because what you're saying is like, look, you know, I felt before I didn't need to confront people. But now I think that not violent confrontation, but just a serious or a simple question. What did you know? Mm-hmm. Why would you say that?
That's more than enough.
That's because people are very shocked.
Yeah.
People are very shocked that somebody would say something.
Yeah.
Now, you know, are there fears of, you know, the immediate reaction from the other person? There is, right? Because you don't know.
Yeah.
But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, as long as you learn from the things that you want to learn from, that's the key, I think. You know, that take those lessons seriously.
Yeah, and that's something I learned from you and Mom for sure, Dad, is for every mistake and even success, but mainly mistake, there's always a lesson to learn from it.
There is.
And there's always something to learn from everything that happens to you in life. But also, I think more importantly too, there's always something to laugh about. I think Mom, especially Mom, she has definitely taught me that you're gonna have a shitty day. You gotta find the humor in it because otherwise you're gonna lose your mind. You know.
That's right.
I remember, Mom always loves when I tell her stories about like Asian customer service.
Yeah.
You know. And any other person, they'd be like, oh my God, this fucking asshole at the store today, he didn't even speak any English, but he was telling me all this and stuff. But Mom was like, oh yeah, it was so funny. We were at the Hong Kong and the guy was telling me, can you stop talking? You're giving me a headache. Can you shut the fuck up, please?
And Mom was just asking him where the sauce was.
Yeah, and, you know. And
we still talk about that because it's funny.
Yeah, but instead of bitching about it, you know, Mom loves to find the humor and that kind of stuff.
Well, I think that
is so great.
I think, because you know what? She had a hard scrabble life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, and so...
it's not like extremely... I think it's difficult, but it's not the same as yours. I think
no, but I think... But struggles are struggles.
Yes.
You know, I
don't want to compare it.
Yeah, you can't... It's hard to compare struggles because...
I'm not saying one's better or harder.
Yeah, and I think
but
that's
you and Mom struggle in a different way.
Yeah, I think like, you know, if you're a kid and you know, you're growing up and your views of struggles is, you know, your parents didn't buy you the car you wanted at 18.
Yeah,
right.
That is a struggle
for that person. It's the end of the fucking world.
Yeah,
but for somebody that grew up without, they're like, what are you crying about? So I don't want to put levels of importance on people's personal struggles because they only know what they know in the views of.
It's relative to them.
To them, yes, it's very relative to them.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's a weird deal because everybody's right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody's right. Everybody tends to be like. My thing is, you know, like I tell people all the time. You know, especially at work, and I get this a lot. Everybody wants to tell me about the problems.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I understand there's a pothole.
Yeah.
Help me with a solution.
Yeah. Mom is like that sometimes too.
Yeah.
She's always like, well, why would you do this, honey? Because this is the issue.
Yeah.
And you're like, I know.
Yeah, it's weird, but people are like that. It's strange.
Yeah.
Because I catch
myself being like that too.
I've always grown up trying to find solutions to my problems.
Right.
I've never had the opportunity for people to teach me about how to fix this or do that.
Yeah.
You know, in my own way, it's just like when I tell people, I was like, hey man, if I tell you to meet me here at 3 and it's 1 o'clock and you get there by 3, you don't need to explain to me how the fuck you got there. Just meet me there.
Yeah.
Because the path there is different. It might be 5 miles away or 2 foot away. It doesn't matter to me. I just want you there. But, you know, the people that want to tell me about it are the people that want to explain to me the problems. And I'm like, you know, I understand there's problems, right? Mm-hmm. There's no problem greater than your problem. You get what I'm saying?
And that's that goes back to not everything is about you.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are they fixable? Some yes, some no. I'm not saying that everything is, you know, a happy fucking ending and, you know, it's a hoorah, high five. But I'm saying that, you know, if you do the things that your lessons give you, you know, the path there is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean,
I agree with that, Dad.
You know, for somebody like me that has this kind of weird winding journey through life and the difficulties or the wins and the losses, you know, I love waking up in the morning because I see it as an opportunity.
Right.
You know, like I love to go to work on Mondays because I feel like it starts my week and I'm ready to go. Right. And then when people, I always find a smirk, and it sounds like one of those motivational speakers who are like, you know, oh my God, it's Friday. I'm off for the weekend. What the fuck you going to do for the weekend? Yeah. You know? Yeah. You're one of those you're tired, but
crazy people that say, I like Monday kind of thing. Right.
I enjoy it because you know what? Your day tomorrow is not guaranteed, man.
That's also something I try to do, Dad.
It's not people expect people
to be grateful for than complain
That's
about.
Right. Yeah. But think about it. People genuinely expect to be waking up tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Right? Because it's happened for X amount of time.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, my older brother's in hospice right now. Stage 4 cancer. Shit's ravaging his body. Mm-hmm. You don't think that before this ever happened, the day before he went to the doctor and they diagnosed him, that he wasn't thinking he was waking up the next day feeling great? Yeah. You don't fucking know. Yeah. And I'm not saying, and too much optimism is bad, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, the world's not all sunshine and fucking rainbows. Right. But what I'm saying is balance. To live the opportunity to be in the moment, people take very lightly.
And that's also another thing I'm trying to teach myself too, Dad.
That's right, because I don't. Say that, right? And you know, when I say, well, you know, I love Mondays, I'm an asshole that has a motivational problem. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, what the fuck? You got to go to work. You know how crazy that is? Yeah. It's not even the sense of whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm very thankful that I have a job. I'm thankful that I have a family. I'm thankful that I can still drive. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the little things in my life because I've done without before. Right. You know, I went without having a job. I went being hungry. I went without having a family. I went from this to that. You know, I went through a journey, and I try never to forget how hard those steps were for me. Because you still got to do it.
Damn, Dad, yeah.
You know? I mean, and those are the lessons from my, you know, like that story I told you where I thought I was going to die, but I still walked out there. Mm-hmm. That wasn't bravery. That was an obligation.
That was obligation.
Yeah. It wasn't like, oh, you look death in the face, fool. Yeah. No, I didn't. I was scared shitless.
I think everybody would be too. And I think to say that you were brave in that moment would be an absolute lie.
No, it wasn't bravery. Yeah. It was an obligation. Yeah. It was something you had to do because that's the sacrifice that you chose, right? And I've been there because that split second, we don't have this conversation and you're never born. Think about it in that sense. My life would have stopped in that moment at 18, 19. And nothing this happens. We're not talking about the happenstance of having a fucking podcast and and walking through life.
Yeah.
You know? But
I think about that all the time, Dad.
Something happened, right?
Right.
Did I learn my lesson that day? No.
Yeah. It took a lot of years.
It took having kids. It actually took this where we're having this conversation. For me, I feel like this is more therapy because I get to relive those crazier moments talking to somebody that's besides my homeboy or whatever. And you're actually, asking me questions that I never would have thought to ask myself.
Right.
And so now I'm feeling like, okay, well, let me kind of, now I'm reliving it. I'm like, man, fuck, them dudes never thanked me for that shit.
Hey, that's what I'm saying.
And then now I'm thinking, I'm like, fuck, this would have never happened. We've never been sitting here talking on a podcast.
Yeah.
In an instant, lives change.
Yeah.
But yet there's still people that wake up hating their world, which I don't understand that.
It's so easy to slip into that mindset, though.
It is, because you know why?
Why?
People think that life is guaranteed.
Yeah. You could die. Yeah.
Well, you don't know.
Yeah. My friend that passed away 2 years ago.
Yeah, you don't know. Healthy kid.
Yeah, healthy kid. Rock climbs, went to the gym.
You thought he was normal, running, happy-go-lucky.
Yeah. He just passed away in his sleep.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. He didn't do any drugs. Nothing.
But you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story. I used to roll with this dude, man. He did time, Chinese dude.
You were friends with a Chinese person?
Yeah, he was like we call him Blackie, way back then. Yeah, he was crazy.
Did you call him Dan?
No, we didn't even call him. We didn't give
him English.
Yeah, Blackie was in English. And well, the reason why this is really fucked up was because he had cancer.
Okay.
And when he would go to therapy or radiation, it would come out and there'd be lines on his head and it'd be dark. Dang, so we call this motherfucker Blackie.
That's fucked up.
He died eventually of cancer. But he was still drinking with us and partying and did shit with us. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And my motherfucker was like, months was losing hair and you don't know. I mean, we had this other homeboy. We called him Jungle. Because he was so athletic. He was like a monkey.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, man. He was working on a shrimp boat. And this was on the news, right? The week before, we played football and we were hanging out.
How old were you guys?
Shit, I was already married. I already had Brandon and Megan.
Oh,
when he died.
I was born. So this is like your mid-20s then, right?
So we were cool. You know what I mean? We would play ball. And
so you didn't meet him through that life. Did you meet him through like car business or something?
No. He was a homeboy of mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we didn't grow up together, but he was a mutual friend and we were all cool.
Okay.
And he worked on a shrimp boat with his dad. So that night, right, it was regular bay. I mean, it wasn't dangerous because they did it for whatever years.
You're right.
Storm blows in. His 10-year-old brother goes to the side to pee.
10 years old?
Yeah, he's on the boat working for the family,
Yeah.
And he goes to the side of the boat to pee. He falls in.
Oh, God.
The dad freaks out. The dad jumps in. His younger brother freaks out, jumps in after him, and he jumps in. They all die.
Holy fuck.
They all die. Think about that.
That is so crazy. And he was just on the boat the whole time.
Yeah. He worked on the boat normal. It's just like you driving a car.
And he came out and he was like, where the fuck did everybody go? Kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. The story. Nobody really knows the whole story, but they all jumped in. They all died.
Except for him?
No, he died.
Oh, he died too?
Yeah. All four of them. The dad, the three brothers died. They left one. They left one brother back, and the mom. They all died.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that crazy? They all buried together up North 45. Think about that. It wasn't like he was whatever crazy. He was just a good dude.
Yeah.
But shit like that happens. And when I reflect back on those things, And then, I had a homeboy that was like heavy into crack for years and years and years.
Uh-huh.
And he was so cracked out, he ran across the 45 freeway and got ran over, and they cut his body in half.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah.
Were you there when it happened?
No. I mean, but those are the things that, that's why for me,
Life is
it's not a motivational like speech,
right.
like get up in the fucking morning, do your, stuff like that. It's not a discipline, man.
No,
it's like, fuck.
Life is, you gotta appreciate what you got.
My homeboy died in jail. Did 30 years. You remember that when I had to go to his funeral last year?
I do remember that.
Died of cancer in jail. Never got out.
Oh my God, I do remember that.
Yeah, death sentence. He had a death sentence in jail.
Oh my God, I do remember that.
Yeah. Remember I was showing you pictures of us when we was kids?
In the apartment.
Yeah. He's one of my really good friends.
30 years.
He did 30 years and died in jail. He had another 15 before he was going to get out. And they wouldn't let him out because it was during COVID. Nobody could visit him. They held him up at the UTMB in Galveston and he passed away. Never got to see his parents. They couldn't go see him.
He died alone in the hospital?
He died alone in the hospital. Chained to a fucking bed as a criminal.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy?
That is so crazy, Dad.
He's my age.
That is so sad.
Mm-hmm. R.I.P. Vu. That's my homeboy.
I never met him, did I?
Yeah.
I did?
Mm-hmm. You're a baby.
Oh.
Yeah. Me and Mom and him used to go on double dates.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
That's when I first started dating Mom. Yeah, Mom barely remembers him. This is when I first started dating Mom, and we all hung out together. And he's yeah.
He's the one that took the fall, right?
Yes.
He was like...
Yes, he took the rap. And one day I'll delve into that story. And I was with him that night. And also anyways, but you don't know. You don't know.
Right. So for you, getting up in the morning is not a...
It's not
it's time to grind. It's time to get that money.
Fuck no. I hate, like everybody else. It's hard to get up in the morning. It's hard to go through the grind. It's all hard.
Right. But you think about what there is to be grateful for.
Yes.
And it changes your mindset about everything. Yeah,
it helps me. Yeah. It helps me tremendously to be just better, to smell the grass, to see the world, man. I don't take what I have
for granted at all.
For granted. People that do, they do. I'm not telling them they're wrong or they're right. I'm talking about me. How the fuck are you going to explain to me that, it's a great world, I worked for everything. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Like,
well, what I'm saying is that I don't take it for granted because I understand there's no guarantees.
Right. And you've been where you don't have any of it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's difficult for people to appreciate things unless it's taken away from them. Like
I think that's a hard lesson, but I don't believe that should happen.
I don't think so
either.
Like
me and Mom, that's how she views it, right? Mm-hmm. It's like our kids need to learn a hard lesson about life. They're too spoiled. And I just think I said, you know what? The appreciation comes with certain things in life, but it also, you don't have to struggle to learn.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be crazy like me, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for me to explain that, because I've lived through it. I've seen it. Mm-hmm. I know you don't live the next day. I know that anything can happen anytime, anywhere. So I get that. For somebody like you that grew up sheltered, that had a pretty good life.
Very good.
But, for you, those lessons, what are you going to do? Go starve so you can find your path? No. Are there people that do it? Yeah, I admire that. Yeah. But I also admire
it's not necessary, though.
I also admire the person that thinks it's not, right? Like you.
Right.
Right? It's like, hey, look, I'm going to live my life. The pace of your life is solely dependent on you. Mm-hmm. Ooh, that's a good one. I think I need to coin that. The pace of your life is solely dependent on you. J-Mo, write that down.
Write it down.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, like your uncles, Uncle Mike's went through it. Uncle Jay's went through it.
I'm sure.
you know, Hieu even has a little bit of it.
He had a crazy near-death experience.
Yeah. I mean, you're my younger brother, too young.
I'm sure he's had stories similar.
Well, I mean, I know all his stories.
Yeah, because you were there for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think he'd ever come on the show and talk about it?
I don't know, man. He's not open. He's very sensitive, but he's very private.
He's very private about it.
Well, you know the whole thing about, yeah. Don't tell her she's...
Yeah.
He's very, very private.
Yeah.
You know what? One day I'm going to see if I can get one of my homeboys on here.
That would be crazy, Dad.
Yeah, we can reflect on some of the stories.
Yeah.
You know?
That would be insane.
Yeah. So, yeah. Different aspects, different, you know, views of the same thing, what we all went through. You know, but yeah, going back to just life lessons, man, I think your pace, what you want, you know, the things that you accept and don't accept kind of give you that. I mean, I don't think you have to be that crazy person when you wake up in the morning and it's joy, jump and shit. But
that's unrealistic.
I think also, you know, the older I get, the more that my belief is that if you actually want something, you can actually try to go get it and achieve it. It's just whatever that you're willing to conquer. You know, I believe that a lot what I am that holds me back is just my attitude about not showing weakness.
Yeah,
you know,
that still gets you, huh?
Yeah, because I can't be political.
Yeah.
You know, you either get me the way I am or you don't. And I hate that.
Very rough around the edges, Dad.
Yeah, and I hate that. And I tell people that don't be like that, you know? I mean,
I'm definitely not.
Yeah, you're better at it than I am.
Definitely.
Brandon's better at it.
Brandon's, yeah,
he's a smooth person.
He's like that too.
Yeah, and I'm just very I'm like, you know, whatever, dog.
I think that's very generational too, though. Because Mom is exactly like that too.
What?
She's very blunt.
Mom's very blunt.
In the sense of, this is who I am, this is what you're getting.
Well, I think she's blunt because she had to be. Again, I mean, her hardships are not the same, but they're
different.
They're different, but she still went through it.
It's the same lane. Yeah.
I mean, I will tell you, there's guys out there that went through hardship that don't say shit like that. You know, that they're willing to bend the knee is the way I call it, right? Too much Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But I just think that, you know, if you get anything out of it in the episode today, it's just, you know, what your pace is in life is, you know, how your life is.
Yeah. And I think not everything is about you. And I think the biggest thing that I've gotten from this, Dad, is there's more things to be grateful for than there are to complain about.
I think so. And I believe so.
If you want to live a happier life, you got to be more grateful.
I think so.
You just have to you got to find the good things that are going on. Because if you don't, everything fucking sucks. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Find, you know, people say find my happiness. I think if, you know, happiness was a monetary thing, there'd be a lot of broke people.
Yeah, absolutely, Dad.
Because they'd be lying their ass off. Yeah. You know, I think that the motions of the things, or your pace of the things that you want, you know, I think the dream of true happiness is a dream. You know, I think that, you know, being who you are, learning your self-worth is a happiness. The grind of life is a happiness.
It's all subjective.
That's it. I mean, I think that, you know, through social or through whatever, people give you direction, which is really weird. People give you direction on how to be happy. And I'm not saying that they're wrong, but I'm saying there's a lot of people out there that read a lot and ask for a lot of help just to be happy, which makes no sense. And I'm like, well, if you do that, that's probably what makes you fucking happy.
Yeah. Whatever it is that you're doing now.
Yeah. It's like, it's a weird deal.
Yeah. Whatever it is that you're doing now.
You know, I mean, it's very subjective to who you are and the things that you want. But the problem with people searching is that they don't understand what they want yet. You know, the easy answer is I want to be wealthy and I want to have a family. No, you don't. You don't know what the fuck it's like to have a family.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's like to have money.
Yeah.
Does money help? Yes.
Yeah. I think it'd be crazy to say that it doesn't.
Yeah, sure, money
You know?
helps. I mean, but the Buddhist monk that lives on prayers and
The goodness of people.
is happy as fuck,
He's happy
probably.
as fuck. Yeah.
And the wealthiest guy in the world is probably is happy as fuck.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me the dope addict that got a little hit on the side ain't happy either, because I've seen it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't tell me that the you know, you're only judging from where you're at. I mean, there's guys out there that choose to be homeless,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's guys out there that choose to be followers. There's guys out there that choose to do whatever. And who the hell? How do you know they're not happy?
Yeah. Who are you to judge or say?
Yeah. How do you
Right.
know? How do you know that a guy that lives in a fucking jungle in a hut, that's never had internet and is hunting for his food on a daily basis through the grinds of life is not happy?
Yeah.
You know?
It's all subjective then.
It is, because,
Yeah.
you know, people put, it's that judgmental shit. You know,
Yeah.
what did you ask me? I said, don't be judgmental.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Just let people. Yeah. I mean, who are we to say? You know? Just let
Yeah, that's what
people-
I'm saying. I mean,
That's something I've learned too. If it makes them, just let them do it. Just let them.
let me go do that shit.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, you know, the key difference is like in my job, if you're asking me how to get better, I get to answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then I get to say, from my point of view, the shit that you're doing wrong. Right? Because for me, if you're willing to go to a place to work or in a family or whatever, and the first thing you want to do is get better, and you ask somebody like me, well, I'm going to tell you. Right? But if you don't ask and you don't do it, then I'm not here to judge you. You go do what the fuck you want to do. You know? I mean, I'm not saying, but as far as like, you know, things that happen within a family where there's no argument, like there's things that, you know, if your uncles do, right, or if I do, you know, but that's the different world, you know, that's family. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a different thing.
I feel like, you know, it's my because of the journeys of life that we go through, that I get to tell you, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But
You're also my dad.
Yeah,
so-
but what I'm saying is, like, outside of that, I don't have a right to tell people what the fuck they want to do. And, you know,
Yeah.
you know, your happiness is what you deem. It's
Yeah.
not what I say.
That's true.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, you know, pretty good today.
Pretty good episode, Dad.
Yeah, I
Going
know.
off
I think we hit on a lot of great points.
We did. We talked about a lot today.
Yeah, so.
Hour and 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
Next episode.
Next week. comes out
Comments
next
are
Sunday.
comments are up if y'all three want to comment.
Yeah. Huey, Uncle Jay, Uncle Mike, say something in the comments below, please.
Yeah.
Especially if you're listening to the end.
Yeah.
I guess with that,
That's it.
Gapsao.
Gapsao.
Good night.
Good night.